Hello and welcome to another episode of Nerds Amalgamated. I'm the Professor and my co-hosts as usual are Devi Boy and the DJ. How are you doing, DJ?
Going good. I'm going good. Watching this absolute colossal storm of a Twitter drama.
Oh, I'm loving it. I can't wait to see the post-mortem on what happened.
Oh, I wonder who's going to take responsibility for this.
And what about you, Devi Boy?
I'm just glad you had more toast. Inside references. No one's going to get this one. Woo.
Remember, kids, toast is very important for a balanced meal diet.
Fun fact of the day.
Are you going to let this one drop any sooner than you let the Hoover thing drop?
Nah, afraid not.
I think this is going to be a running meme this episode.
Yep.
Well, as an explanation, before we started recording, I said toasting instead of testing.
Toasty.
Yep.
Yeah, and now they won't let it die. But speaking of things that did die, Devi Boy has our first topic.
Ah, yes. A very toasty. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, that's enough. So as all Half-Life 3 is going to happen. I mean, we know it's confirmed now after Half-Life Alyx. Sorry, spoilers, but we've confirmed Half-Life. More Half-Life games. Not exactly Half-Life 3, but more Half-Life games now. Now, thankfully, because of Half-Life Alyx and the good reception it's got, Valve finally feels comfortable talking about it to us, the general public, after many years of silence. So a new documentary has been posted on Steam, which is basically the documentary of the creation of Half-Life Alyx and the in-betweens between Half-Life Episode 2 and to where Half-Life Alyx began in terms of the dev team. So we got Jeff Keighley's Half-Life Alyx final hours are now available on Steam. So this is where this information has come from. And basically, over five Half-Life projects were cancelled before Alyx, including Half-Life 3, and they go through a ton of reasons. Original Half-Life 3 was cancelled because, Source 2 was not ready for it, and then they went through RPG concepts, open world Left 4 Dead game. There's just a ton of concepts and ideas, so that it's pretty obvious Valve was very into wanting to make a new Half-Life game, just they couldn't work out what they actually wanted. What do you guys think?
Well, it wasn't just Half-Life. What is a hot dog?
Where's the toast?
No, you have hot dog with a bun, not with toast.
I have a toast.
Well, unless you go to Bunnings, that is.
Ah, yeah.
No, that's a sausage. Hot dogs are different.
But in all seriousness, though, I think it kind of sucks when you're we were gonna have a Half-Life 3, but then all that hype is gone.
I mean, I think it's gone. It's still there. It was there for Half-Life Alyx and stuff. I think it's a good thing that we didn't have Half-Life 3, because the point being is if Half-Life 3 came out and it went with one of these concepts that didn't really gain traction at Valve, so it obviously means they weren't up to the normal quality that they're used to delivering, it would have been a letdown. I mean, the whole point of Half-Life series is meant to be Valve uses Half-Life as the way to push new ideas and technologies in the PC gaming industry. So original Half-Life was basically storytelling inside three-dimensional games. Half-Life 2 was all about physics engines and rendering and shaders. And Half-Life Alyx is about VR.
And it even breaks down to the episodes.
Yeah, true.
So episode 1 was about having a companion character who didn't suck.
Isn't that where Portal was inspired from in that essence?
No, Portal came from a team of students at DigiPen.
Okay.
DigiPen is a game development sort of university, and they're known for every year they have a showcase of some particular mind-bending game that came out.
Okay.
So one year was Narbacular Drop, which is Portal, but with a different skin, basically.
Yeah. So you were saying. Oh, sorry, David Boy. So you were saying Half-Life Episode 1 is basically the system that won't do. What's Half-Life Episode 2 then?
That one, I don't remember what the focus of that one was. It's in the I think it's in the in-game commentary.
Yeah.
I mean, the main focus of the episodes was trying to deliver Valve internally, the whole point of episodes was to get more content out at a faster rate. But the problem was they found that by doing that, they got more out, but it put more stress on their team, and their scope just kept increasing with now even shorter deadlines. So it wasn't working out for them.
So basically, they were trying to avoid the crunch culture before anyone could.
Pretty much. You know how Valve's structured. They don't have a traditional AAA studio setup. They have one where basically a ton of people on wheelchairs. So you got your office desks on wheels, and you basically wheel around to the projects you want to work on. But they got a lift and everything, which has like you wheel your chair and it goes up in your desk and everything. I mean,
Lift in the parking garage is also known for kidnapping people. It's in the employee manual that got leaked a few years back.
what way?
Well, I assume it just locks you up and doesn't let you out.
Oh, low.
They have now decided that they've come out and said that the sort of, what's the term for it? The horizontal structure isn't working for them.
Yeah.
Because people start a project, get it to the point where they've got a proof of concept and it looks really cool, but no one wants to put in the effort to finish developing it because that's not exciting.
Yeah, and that's the issue they'll overcome because Valve has a long history of leaks and dead projects, especially like even here, 5 dead games. Now, I don't personally believe from a game science standpoint all those really sound that intriguing. The Left 4 Dead open world game sort of, but there's already so many open world zombie games. So I'm glad Alyx went through, but it does. Man, Valve doesn't care. Like they don't care as much. They don't put as much emphasis on it compared to other studios because they've got Steam. They're swimming in money, right? So there's no financial incentive, let's say. Alyx, there is more financial incentive, I guess, because it's helping push their VR systems and that side of technology. But like in terms of studios which have to constantly worry about getting a product out, otherwise they're going to go bankrupt. Like Valve doesn't have that issue.
But how do they? But it's interesting how but with Valve, now they have Epic like trying to compete with them. Like there must be emphasis on okay, Epic is coming up and they're coming up with great new games. We need to bring back all the Half-Life games, maybe to try and rival against Epic again.
And that's what the good thing about competition is, right? At the same time, I don't think Epic's really at the level of Valve yet. Like their store is all right. They're doing the free game offers, which is amazing. I've gotten quite a few of them myself. But like, there's not that user experience yet. There's no like the desktop application doesn't give you the same experience as Steam. Doesn't give you the same options and shows you a big library in a really nice sorted out way. There's no community features yet. There's none of that community part to it, which is obviously a big part of Valve and Steam's identity, right? So it's there, it's competing, but I don't think it's as much of a threat, at least right now, compared to Steam. In the future, considering Epic also has tons of money they can throw at it, possibly.
Yeah. Because you two are both game developers. When you see news like these, do you ever go like, "Do I really want to develop a game knowing it's going to get cancelled at one stage?"
That's the life of a good developer. More often than not, you develop something and gets halfway through, you're like, this doesn't really want to release this. This doesn't feel good. And then you either cancel it or you just continue moving through and get it out the door so you can build another project. Like, creating a masterpiece is a difficult thing. And more often than not, you're not going to create one.
Which is I bet you that the hardest part was trying to get all the pieces right in the end.
And that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
It takes longest, it's the hardest, it's the most difficult, but that's why Valve always gets, like, that's why the Valve, at least, apart from Artifact, usually have like 10 out of 10 games coming out, right? No, 9 to 10. Because how they work a place culture set up, it does allow for more versatility, even though it takes long to get products out, which is a problem. It does mean those products that do get out the door, that do have that effort and that team behind it, are usually of a really high quality. And even Artifact, I know Artifact financially didn't make much sense, right, to the general consumer. Quality-wise, in terms of the game itself, it's all right. It had a few bugs, but for the most part, like, visually looks really nice. But comparatively, like, to a lot of our studios that push a game out, like Bethesda, putting a game out of 1 million bugs in it, right, and expecting the community to fix it, and then paying the community to set up a store, so you got to pay for the mods to fix the game, which you didn't even finish developing. Like, that sort of thing doesn't happen with Valve, apart from Half-Life Source. You know, every studio is guilty of it, okay?
So I did some reading here, and I found so episode 1 was about the characters, the facial animation, the companions. Episode 2 was about sort of open battles and travel.
Yes, which
so that's how you got in episode 2. You have all those scenes where there's battles going on, and you have all these different angles.
Yeah, the mountain biker and the water hovercraft thing.
Yeah, and at the end of episode 2, you have the big Strider battle. Episode 3, who bloody knows?
I mean, you had the Epistle 3 came out, which is a reference here, which meant they couldn't go down that line anymore. even though it was already pretty much, I believe, cancelled. I haven't seen the documentary. I probably should do that. I'm quite interested, but it's $10, I believe, so I'm gonna search it right now. It sounded alright based on that leak.
The leak was a good story.
It was a good story, and it sounded interesting. It sounded like Half-Life, but I honestly like the direction they're going now. It's interesting. I think it works better for a game which is so... it's been too long since Episode 2 to really put out Half-Life 3. You know what I mean? So doing this back step and going a completely different opposite direction makes things interesting.
Yeah, so I found an article that has more details on the 5 cancelled projects. There's more than 5 projects, because some of them weren't Half-Life projects. So Half-Life 3 would have used procedural generation to build out the level. Mm-hmm. So each time you play would be different, but the main story beats would still be the same.
I see.
I'm not sure which game, if there's any game that really does that well. Left 4 Dead 3 was a Left 4 Dead game set in Morocco, cancelled because they didn't finish Source 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
An RPG just called RPG.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
RPG, the game. RPG, the movie, the game, the video game.
Imagine the next thing, RPG, the book.
RPG, the movie, the video game, the movie, the game, the book.
We can get even more recursive here. So it was inspired by Elder Scrolls, Dark Souls, and Monster Hunter. Never got past concept, but they were going to release it in small chunks.
So back to the old development cycle idea.
Yeah. They also tried it using Dota characters.
Yes, Axe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arty, which was a voxel-based game with open-ended destruction.
Minecraft, basically.
Yeah, a bit Minecrafty, a bit Cube World.
I could see why that lost steam, though, considering Minecraft... Not clone. That's an evil word to say something's a clone or rip-off, right? I say inspired. Minecraft-inspired games from early 2010s to mid-2010s, right, were a big thing. But these days, it's kind of like, Like, people try it so much that it's kind of died off trying to recreate the success of Minecraft, because Minecraft's kind of... It's gone through its nostalgia cycle, right? So it's the landscape's very different compared to was back then. So I can see why that development project fell apart.
And Minecraft is the Facebook of video games.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Everyone knows it, and it doesn't look like anything's going to knock it off.
Yeah.
What about Roblox? What do you reckon of that one?
Roblox has been around longer than Minecraft, and it has a different community, right? So Minecraft's about building and surviving inside a specific randomly generated world. Roblox has always, I think Roblox started in 2003 or something. Don't quote me on that, but early 2000s, right? It's about people building and sharing levels. So it's like Little Big Planet, basically, with Minecraft. Not Minecraft, but Little Big Planet with blocky aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
So it's more based around community and talking and building small little mini games. So it's more of a game creation tool.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so
it's similar, and they've always been rivals to each other. But that's why they've coexisted, because they focus on different parts of the market.
Yeah.
There was also SimTrack by former Kerbal Space Program developers.
Oh,
which sounds like it could be really exciting, but I have no idea what it could be. It sounds sort of like a hiking simulator, maybe.
So Death Stranding-ish?
Oh, yes, that comes out on PC fairly soon.
Woo!
For like $100. Yeah. Shooter, which was a Half-Life VR shooter, would have been part of the lab, but they didn't finish it in time. Borealis, a Half-Life VR, which led by Mark Laidlaw, who wrote the Epistle 3 story, would have been on the Borealis traveling between the 7-hour war and the time after Episode 2, which is quite similar to the ideas of Epistle 3.
And that's the one I read, which I find it intriguing, but at the same time, I'm glad it never came through development, because things like the 7-hour war, it works better as a backdrop, a mystery to how. Like, if you kind of see it in action, I feel it would take away the lore to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if there's any games that have done...
Sorry?
Hunt
Down the Freeman. did it.
Oh, no, I don't mean about the war specifically.
Oh, okay.
I mean about, I don't think there's any games that have done being a sort of an action hero in in a losing fight.
Yeah, I see.
Half-Life Reach, maybe, but that's still pretty hopeful. But I don't see any way you could make 7-Hour War hopeful.
Yeah, I mean, you could do gameplay in there, but the whole point that the narrative would be you fail, in a way. So unless they did a time travel, which it would be a time travel thing. So
yeah,
and who knows? It's a cancel project, but yeah, I mean, they had a ton of ideas.
Well, it had a fishing minigame.
Oh boy! All right then, they should have finished this thing. Oh,
absolutely,
mutant
fishing in VR, catching a Nicky saw.
Catch yourself a head crab. Don't just make sure it doesn't bite you.
Hit it and throw it back.
Rex Hunter fishing, eat your heart out. Here comes Gordon Freeman fishing.
Then there was Hot Dog, which was another Left 4 Dead game, but with no details released. And Vader, which was a $5,000 VR headset that was cancelled when they realized no one would be able to afford it.
Yeah, it's like... the second I read that, I thought it meant like Dark Vader. Instantly went, oh, they do a Star Wars. How like an EA? What, EA partner with them or something? Oh, okay. I see. Just one of the headset ideas.
Can you imagine if you were EA and you teamed up with Steam and you go like, okay, we're gonna rip off as much as we can with this VR project. All right, let's do $5,000.
Honestly, I reckon if the studio, which is the studio that did the Fallen Order, like
that was that was EA, yeah.
No, it was EA, but what? I don't know what game studio it was. Let me search.
It was DICE, I think it was.
I thought it was Titanfall, guys.
Was it DICE?
Jedi Fallen Order.
Respawn Entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah, the
that makes sense.
guys.
I mean, yeah, Titanfall, because like those guys know how to make a narrative game so well. If they could, I reckon, handle the Half-Life IP, even though it's never going to happen. Just like comparatively, those two studios, as of right now, like combining action with good narrative, like they can do a good job.
Yeah. I'm also disappointed that both attempts to make Episode 4, which were contracted out to other developers, they both flopped. So
Episode 3, what are you going to do?
Yeah, well, Episode 4 was it was the nickname for Return to Ravenholm by Arcane Studios, who later went on to do Dishonored. And actually, Dishonored had the same art director as Half-Life 2.
Oh, I can see that, yeah.
And then there was the Warren Spector episode, which was being developed by Junction Point. I don't know that there's much detail about that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm honestly glad. It's fun reading about these failed projects, but it makes me glad that we, out of all this and all the silence, we finally got Half-Life Alyx, and its quality is insane because it keeps the Half-Life brand appealing and fresh in a way. You know what I mean? Because if we got like, it's like Call of Duty. We've had by this time another 8 Half-Life games. We'd be like, oh, Half-Life Alyx is out. Meanwhile, start this year, Half-Life Alyx was like Choose trailer came out. What? A Half-Life game in 2020?
Yeah, I think they've given us plenty of time to not get burnt out.
Yeah.
Yes. True. Let's hope it's not another 20 years.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though, guys. Here's the thing. Now that Half-Life Alyx is coming out, are we going to see more and more Half-Life 3 memes?
I don't think so, because they haven't. Half-Life 3 itself is dead. There is confirmed more Half-Life, but 3 itself, I don't know, because they're going in a completely different direction.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll follow on with Episode 2. I can easily imagine them deciding it's been too long, and as much as everyone loves those characters,
well,
maybe they could do a bit where it starts at the end of Episode 2, the G-Man plucks you out of there.
I see. Yeah.
And maybe you get to go back and hang out with Alyx again because everyone loves Alyx.
Yeah. Yep. I definitely reckon the next game in Half-Life series, you will play as Gordon, for sure, considering the ending teaser. Like, it just makes sense. But in terms of direction they take, they can do whatever they like. And that's the freedom Half-Life Alyx gave them.
So we should move on. What do you have for us this week, DJ?
This week I have the program guide to Comic-Con at Home 2020. So for those curious, Comic-Con was supposed to be on this year, but the live event was cancelled because of Corona. So Comic-Con, the organization, have decided, let's do Comic-Con at home. And what we know so far is that Comic-Con's partners are putting towards an admittedly impressive schedule of virtual panels, all of which will be available at the Comic-Con YouTube page. And they'll be diving deeper into the schedule next week. Well, actually, just next week. And they'll be looking through all the biggest panels so far. So this event is going to go from July 22nd to July 26th at the San Diego Convention Center.
So we've got 4 days of panels.
Yep.
Being live streamed on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, yes and no. Yes, they are being live streamed. No, they're not live. All the panels are all pre-recorded, so there won't be any fan interaction with the panelists.
You know, that's a bit rubbish. I get that it would be very hard to moderate the chat and pick out questions for the panelists. Yeah, the panelists. But it's a bit rubbish that normal panels have questions and answers and let the crowd interact, and this won't.
And it's doing it on YouTube. They're missing a gold mine here. Like, imagine doing super chats. Imagine super chats in the middle of a YouTube stream. Like, okay, if you want to talk to the panelists, you must pay $100.
That doesn't sound too far from actual conventions, though.
Yeah, I mean, they're missing an opportunity. I understand from a certain perspective why, because it would be a nightmare trying to regulate memes and stuff, considering, so as an organization, instead of an individual, as an organization having to worry about specific behavior because YouTube comments aren't exactly known for their respectfulness.
No.
Now, obviously, if you had someone who's moderating the chat and then choose answers to say, that's fine. So I don't understand why they can't do that. But from a certain point of view, I can understand why they've decided to go this route. It just is easier on everyone, especially those that might not be familiar with how to operate YouTube's video player, right? Live stream player. But I mean, there's people out there could hire, but I don't know.
Yeah, and also, so like the actual event, there'll be 350 panels within these 4 days. So they'll be featuring actors, writers, and other famous and most famous names in the world of television, movies, gaming, and comics. So yeah.
So is it free this time?
It's free, yeah. So all of these will be on YouTube. So on the show notes, I post all so is it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a big schedule. So I've got some highlights here. So on the Wednesday, the 22nd, you've got Teaching with Comics. And this is basically, these educators use comics to teach their students. They reveal their practice and theories behind the method. And you've got conspiracy theories, propaganda.
Teachers with comics. That reminds me of the scientists we were talking about a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah, JKX comics.
JKX, yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome. Their comics look awesome. You gotta check them out, Debbie boy. But you gotta check out JKX comics. They have some really cool concepts in comic book format. It's like remember the anime series Cells in
Cells at Work?
Yeah, Cells at Work. That's the one. Yeah. Think of that one, but yeah, with that in the comic book format in Western comics.
I'll have to give it a try.
Yeah, really cool people to check out. What else is there? Then there's conspiracy theories and propaganda throughout pop culture. So this one's a panelist that will trace conspiracy theories and propaganda using throughout comics, shows, and movies. And then there's the new kids comics from Eisner Award publishers, and they basically talk the artists and novelists behind several graphic novels for kids, discussing the new age of storytelling. On the Thursday one, we've got a lot. We've got the Star Trek Universe virtual panel, and this will be talking with the cast and producers of Star Trek Discovery, and also the people behind the new animated series Star Trek Lower Decks and Picard.
Yeah.
I saw what did you thought of Lower Decks, the trailer?
I haven't seen Lower Decks, but I've watched Red Letter Media's reviews of Star Trek Picard. I've seen some original Star Trek. I'm not a massive fan, but I've seen a little bit of the original Star Trek. Only a few episodes.
Oh yeah, the original Star Trek's awesome.
Oh, what is this? They're there. Red Letter Media, great guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Then there is a big. Then there's Amazon Prime's newest project, Utopia, which is a 8-episode thriller about a group of young comic fans who discover a conspiracy theory in the graphic novel is real and must prevent the end of the world. What else is there? Then there's the roast of Todd McFarlane. The science
Who
of
is Todd?
Todd McFarlane. He is the guy who created Spawn comics.
As in the monster Spawn?
Yeah, the super comic book hero Spawn. Yeah.
He's a hero, is he? I don't bloody know these comics, you young whippersnappers.
Wow, really? I'm young. Wow. What else is there? Then there is the Blade Runner comic panel on Friday.
Woo.
This one's basically co-writer Mike Johnson and others discuss how they adopted the best-selling comic series Blade Runner 2019 from the screen. The Walking Dead panel. What else is there? Then there's the Bob's Burgers panel. On the Saturday, there is the Simpsons panel. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Back to the Moon and Beyond with NASA. And that's going to be hosted by Will Shatner and includes astronauts such as Nicole Mann and...
That will be hosted by Will Shatner.
Yep. And on the final day on Sunday, there will be the first TMNT 30th anniversary panel, Comic-Con Film School, and Women on the Dark Side, which is basically not all female artists and creators talk about the unicorns and glittery vampires and silly pseudo bondage.
Ooh.
Some women create truly dark and challenging art and content. Just a touch of humor and whimsy.
That sounds fun.
That does. When you said TMT, so that's Teenage Mutant Turtles, right?
Yep.
Oh my god. The second you said it, I was like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It just suddenly popped in my head. I'm like, oh god, another 10 days of listening to this, won't I?
Come on, it cannot be that bad. It cannot be that bad.
Look, I spent 5 days in my childhood where I bought, because they released all the original series on DVD for the first time, like the $5 each. I bought the whole series and I watched every single episode for like 5 days straight. I slept. Don't worry, I slept. But I was young. And that theme song was drilled into my brain. I cannot get rid of it.
There are some other stuff as well. Like there's going to be a Zoom meeting with Joss Whedon, Del Toro, and Scott Cooper and Antlers. Scott Cooper and Antlers and filmmaking. Bill and Ted Face the Music.
So, can you watch these after the fact, or do you have to catch them live?
Yeah, I think that you could catch them live. Hang on a second.
Because this will be like the middle of the night for us.
Yeah.
And
so they're saying here.
Not only that, there's two shows on at the same time that I want to watch.
Yeah.
Why do they do this to me?
So they're saying here while most of the panels will be available after Comic-Con, there are some that may have a limited time period attached to them. So if you want to watch it, do it live or close to it.
Okay.
And they're all
I'll be checking out No Tow Trucks Beyond Mars and the state of the tabletop industry.
Oh, yeah. You should also check out the Conversation with Nathan Fillion as well. That's on Sunday as well. I think the professor went silent.
Yes, I will be booking that one in.
He's alive. Don't worry, guys. He's always alive.
I think the dementia got to him.
Hey, I've never died yet.
Oh, and
by all of my experiences, I am immortal.
Oh, hang on. We could question that, maybe.
But
way off topic, but you do know of quantum immortality, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Basically, the idea that if you die in one universe, it splits off to another universe where you didn't die. So from your point of view, you are immortal, unless you're in the universe where you died.
Yeah, but we're in the Steins Gate timeline, so if you die, we might be thrown off into one of the Beta Well lines.
Okay, I'll try not to die.
That's a reference.
The one thing that's missing with Comic-Con for this one is the cosplay. Everyone loves Comic-Con when it comes to cosplay, and they've even got a panel there too.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing it's going to take away from all these panels, because PAX is doing a similar thing. I mean, PAX's culture is based on, obviously, cosplay is a big part of it, like all pop culture, festivals. But also, like, PAX-wise, you got the pin trading, which obviously is not going to happen this year. Likewise, Comic-Con, you got the Comic-Con exclusives, you got the Comic-Con, the atmosphere, right? And I mean, this is probably the best they can do, obviously. Speaking of panels, though, I think the best example from a panel which has done a good job adapting to the COVID situation was there was a panel not a panel. It was a convention done in VR chat. So it was one. It's a Japanese convention, and it's all Japanese. I couldn't work out the name of it, unfortunately. But basically, it was meant to be taking place on the grounds, and they decided to just make it a VR chat. So they made a whole world and had all the actual manga artists line up at build their own stands inside the virtual reality. And they actually came in and interacted with the actual manga artists in virtual reality at their own stands as if it was a convention. So that was really cool. And I wish other conventions could do that. Obviously, it's a bit difficult. Bit off topic, but that's what I just wanted to say.
Yeah, but can you imagine how many of them would be like, "You're not an anime girl, are you?"
Oh, I think about to say the amount of servers they're going to crash. And I mean,
Please don't crash the servers. That gets expensive.
That's going to be insane now when you think about it. Like, how they're going to... the logistics of this is going to be insane.
I mean, it's hosted on YouTube, all right. Like, you should be able to take it, no problem. Hopefully.
Hold on, this isn't right. It's got on 1 p.m. on Sunday, the Red Dwarf panel featuring Chris Barry from Lara Croft Tomb Raider, Craig Charles from Coronation Street, and Robert Llewellyn from MI High. They're not from any of that. They're from Red Dwarf.
Wait, then where's Danny John? Where's Danny John?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Danny John Jules. You can't have Red Dwarf without Cat.
Oh, man. But, so you guys will be watching all 4 days, or are you just going to be try and catch up with nearly all of them?
I'll just watch a couple of them.
Yeah, I'll probably just jump in, jump out, see what's around. I'm not exactly a massive panel fan. I more take tidbits from the conversations after they're done. Watching videos when I have the reason to watch.
Yeah. And here's the good thing about Comic-Con. Every Comic-Con, trailers come out. So we're going to expect a lot of trailers from movies to games and comics and TV shows.
The only piece of information I want from these... the only piece of information I want from these conventions, right, is the price of next-gen consoles. That is it. I do not care. I do not care how much the games I do. I mean, obviously I do, but I just want the price, please. That's all I'm looking forward to.
Well, speaking of the next consoles, the PlayStation 4 factory is almost entirely automated. That's our next topic. Segway. CBK. I am the master of segues.
Dude, it's as if we planned that. No, we didn't actually.
Yep.
So I assume it's taken some development over the past 7 years since the PS4 came out.
2013, so yeah, actually more. Hang on.
Actually, it came out around October, didn't it? Because
2013, end of 2013.
GTA was a launch title, I think.
Yeah, that's right. So,
the original, 2013, yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to be probably a launch title on PS5 as well. GTA 5 all over again. And that's weird. How much did they pay to get their trailer for a 7-year-old game at the front of the Sony show at E3?
I love everyone's reactions like, oh, PS5 news, look, Rockstar, here we go. You have to be the instant disappointment on everyone's faces. That like if it was, they should have done it to like Red Dead Redemption 2, because that would have been acceptable. Because like, okay, that's a 2-year-ish old game, right? And that's still got a lot of potential, like a redo on the next console's remaster, right? But GTA, it's just...
At this point, anyone who wants to play GTA has already played it.
Yep.
Although, have they announced Skyrim for PS5 yet?
It will happen. It will happen. No doubt about it.
So the factory in Japan, where they assemble the PlayStation 4, uses a 30-meter long assembly line with 32 robots, and it can produce one PlayStation every 30 seconds. And what's crazy about this is that they've pushed the boundaries for robot assembly, because the robots are doing things like plugging in flexible flat cables, those ribbon connectors, which are an absolute pain. And robots can do that. That's magic.
Well, say goodbye to the union.
Yes, this is the robot revolution. Good luck with your jobs. So the factory line each assembly line uses only 4 humans. 2 of them load the bare boards in at one end, and 2 of them pack them into boxes at the other end. So, judging by the description, it sounds like the board goes through the full assembly, gets parts put in it, soldered, tested, placed in a case, plugged into everything, moved along to a full testing station that makes sure it all actually boots up, sent down the line, put in a case, and put in a cardboard box by a human. The rest of, all of that's robot until the human puts it in the box.
Holy.
It's bloody amazing because, you think back to the good old days, but a generation or two before, and it was still mostly hand production, but now it's it's obviously a great way to keep down the cost. Not for the workers and work employment, but the console itself is probably going to help significantly reduce the price, considering the specs that have come out about it and how much that usually costs, being so mass produced and stuff. But still, it's okay.
Yeah, and this, to be fair, isn't the first time a piece of gaming electronics is fully robot assembled. The Steam controller was fully automatic, but
Whoa.
I think it's the first time a console, which has vastly more parts, has been assembled.
Yeah, I mean, a controller I don't know. A controller doesn't feel as wow because it's just a plastic shell, one PCB, and then some knobs.
They're
on
pretty
top.
simple.
Yeah, but a console, you got graphics drives, you got SSD cards, you got the case, right there, AR shields and RA shield, I don't know,
RF shields.
RF, thank you, RF shields, and you got testing and you got components, a lot to it, a lot of things that go wrong. So I'm still taking it in. That's all. I want to see a full video of it from start to finish.
Yeah, there's a second article that one links to, which has more detailed photos, but unfortunately no footage.
No video. That's what I honestly can't wait. It'll come out eventually, I'm sure.
How much do you think we can bribe the workers to go and smuggle in a phone?
Considering Japan, probably quite a lot.
Yeah, I do like this wide shot here, though, looking out over the factory floor and seeing all of these green lights saying, yep, robot's going.
It's all good here, mate. No issues.
Yeah.
There is a video on how a PS3's been assembled. I think that's the closest thing we're going to get.
Probably for a little bit.
But it's the same, I reckon it's the same idea, though.
Yeah, already in that photo, you can see more people than there are in the PlayStation 4 assembly line. And then I expect the PlayStation 3 is much more hands-on, judging by that video.
Yeah, one thing I think that video, depending on how long it's taken, I reckon it's because of the coronavirus that they couldn't do that stuff. So
I think they've been working on it for a while at least, because you don't spin up a whole assembly line in 6 months.
No. I believe I read an article before that said the PS4 had some robotic assembly, so it's probably they're built on top of that.
Yeah. All you need to do is work out which part you can automate. Like the easy stuff. You automate the easy stuff first and keep a human doing the stuff that really requires a human touch until you can replace them and put someone else in the unemployment lines. Off you go, mate. Go get the doll.
Can you imagine? And here's the other problem though. If it's only because Sony, if I recall, Sony consoles don't have a region lock situation.
Here we go. They started using the hybrid approach of human staff to operate the motherboard at the beginning and packing at the end in 2019. So they've been using this for about a year.
Yeah, and you gotta give the Japanese credit. I mean, they have a higher emphasis on quality over quantity.
Yeah, some of them do. The Switch manufacturing is a bit disappointing.
Hey, it's Nintendo.
Well, Nintendo usually was pretty trustworthy.
Yeah.
It's just the Switch has a pretty glaring design flaw, and they're only just addressing it now, which is that the way the joysticks are designed, instead of going with a traditional style, they wanted to keep the thickness down, and that means that the joystick is basically a disposable part. It will wear out and there's nothing you can do. It's not like an Xbox controller, well, an Xbox 360 at least, it still uses I think it uses Hall effect sensors, but the Switch uses graphite sheets, and rubbing against the graphite with metal is not great because graphite's quite soft.
Yeah.
And, I probably could have told them that, but they didn't ask me, so
God damn it, Nintendo, you should have done better.
yeah. So it's obviously not designing a games console obviously isn't a solved problem.
No.
But this is pretty damn close.
I feel sorry for the employees in the situation.
Yeah, this is the change we need to go through, though, because there's no way, once companies realize how much more money they can make replacing their employees with robots, they're not going to keep employing humans.
It's going to settle down at some point, because the problem is you employ robots to make all the products, and as no one has money to buy the products, then, well, you got a problem there.
Yeah.
So I think there will be a cultural change around work and about what we do as work. But I don't know what form society will take after that change.
No, it's something it's going to take probably quite a few years, and it'll be a slow change, but it's going to happen. You can't stop it.
Yeah, I just hope it's a slow,
Positive.
peaceful change and not like riots on the street because robots took our jobs.
Time to relive the Animatrix.
Yes, every cyberpunk movie ever.
Can you imagine all the Sony employees in America and in Japan all protesting, going like, "They cannot take our jobs"?
Yes, but then a factory floor job like this, fairly methodical. You're not like, especially in the really specialized ones where you hear about people who are like, it's probably an exaggeration, but you hear about the guy on the assembly line whose job is to put in one screw.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically already a robot at that point, so replacing with a robot, I mean, not to be hard on that person who's putting that one screw in, but for the company it makes sense financially.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And I think, I'd like to think there is something more fulfilling that person could be doing. But again, we'll have to see where society goes.
Yeah.
So shall we move on to something less depressing?
Whoa! Yep. Oh, man, I've heard about toast.
Out! Actually, this is a bit depressing. It's about stress and coping in esports and the influence of mental toughness. Yeah.
I was gonna make a toasty joke, but then I realized probably wouldn't be appropriate there.
Well, you could probably toast on a league player's head when they rage after a match.
Well, so are you gonna make a GIF out of it or a GIF out of it?
Why'd you ask me this question? My answer is neither. I'm not going to post anything or make anything, so then you can't judge me on what one I call it.
Yes, go back to your cave and be antisocial and hide, and because remember,
it's what I do best.
Remember, no one can criticize you if you don't see anybody.
I'll just live my toasty friends.
So this study was about investigating how players experience stress from video gaming using a bunch of different mental toughness and stress frameworks.
Yeah. And they've used 316 esports athletes, and the games they've used is Dota 2, League of Legends, Counter-Strike Global Offense, Overwatch, and Rainbow Six Siege.
All good games.
Yep.
Indeed.
All tend to be quite toxic.
Yep.
Indeed.
So yeah, they're saying mental toughness was associated with the selection of more problem-focused and emotion-focused coping strategies and less avoidance coping strategies. And the results indicate that there is some overlap between MT, which is a mental toughness, and stress coping process in high-performing traditional sports and competitive esports athletes. And the results suggest that esports athletes could benefit from sports psychology intervention designed for traditional sports athletes.
So what you're saying is that an activity that involves competition, teamwork, and like in a structured system of rules has similar effects to playing a sport?
What?
I could have never guessed.
And meanwhile, water is wet.
Yes.
I don't like soggy bread.
Yeah. So elite esport athletes have faster response times and higher accuracy in the simple choice reaction time stimuli. but there's no difference between high-level and low-level players in cognitive inhibition. So they say that there needs to be more research, but the impression I'm getting is that these things, I know from other studies, your response times and decision-making under pressure can be improved by playing video games. This is I remember reading it in an article way back.
I mean, it's no surprise. So, I mean, okay, the research helps, but like esports isn't. Most people think looking at you, you're sitting down playing a game, you're not moving around, but there's still a lot of physical strain put on you. Not to mention the amount of training you need to do in a pretty unhealthy environment to be able to get to those degrees of, level skill, right? Just the amount of mental strain that like is forced upon you, because the prizes these days are very huge. So it's getting to that higher end of the esports ladder and then not succeeding it must be absolutely crushing.
But here's the thing though, could you really classify esports as a sport, like a genuine sport though? A
sport requires skill. Does esports require skill? Yes. Yeah. I reckon it's a sport. Like, put it this way: people bowling and pull is a sport. Do you exercise physical endurance? No, you're throwing a ball and you're not running. Like pull, you're just not swing ball, but pull. You're just whacking some balls around a green, table. You're not exactly not to hurt any pull athletes out there, but like you're not exactly running around doing an athletic Olympic triathlon, right?
So and those explosives, though, you got to stop saying pool.
But oh yeah, I see.
Yeah, you're gonna.
Yeah, I gotta hold this down. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, but there's a lot of sports that don't require much physical exertion. Bridge is an Olympic sport.
Yeah.
The card game. What?
Bridge.
It is.
It's a card game.
No.
It is, yeah.
Totally. How is it? I did recall like they were going to put, what was it? Golf as an Olympic sport. I'm like, nah.
Yeah. So basically anything competitive could be a sport. Anything competitive that requires you to be the best in your field to compete in is a sport, I reckon. The funny thing is, though, bridge got into the Olympics before chess did.
That's another one, like chess. Chess is well renowned as being, a sport, but it's a mental game. It's a mind game.
Can you imagine, like, in the next, 20 or 30 years, they make a Magic the Gathering the Olympics?
I don't think Magic Gathering itself, but a card game, possibly. I don't know. It depends, because Olympics it's not dying fast, but it's not being supported as much, considering of the economical benefits have started to wane, considering the amount of effort needed to be put in for a game. So,
Japan's just gone and built millions of dollars of stadiums to not use.
Until next year, at least.
Thank you, Corona.
Yeah. Although I wouldn't be surprised if Magic the Gathering did get in a few years. I think, though, the problem is that people who talk about this stuff who aren't us are the same sort of people who say video games are not a sport and cannot be art.
Video games are not... Yeah, I'll say video games are not art. What are you talking about?
Oh, man. We're going to have words later.
They're not art. What are you talking about? I could never see video games as an art film. Oh, those stupid degenerates.
Yeah, so there's a certain taint to video games.
Yeah, it's understandable, considering like other sports have been around for hundreds of years. Like or in some form, 100 years. The modern incarnation of it, not so much, but video games have been around like 30 years in terms of like competitively, truly competitive, like esports ways. Only like 15, do you think? 2005?
Yeah.
Hey, Halo, like LAN parties where it probably started, right? So competitive multiplayer, like 15 years, like that is nothing for a brand new medium compared to like, I don't know, chess. Oh yeah, we had like, 2,000 years to get off the ground. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, back to the...
Here we go. I had a little ticking over in my mind there, and I had to check it. There was the Intergalactic Space War Olympics, the earliest known video game competition, on the 19th of October 1972, playing the game Space War, which is I remember reading about this. I think it was in Stephen Levy's Hackers. So Space War is a game where two players play as spaceships and try to shoot each other down while flying around a black hole. So I think that's the makes sense as the earliest one. And Twin Galaxies, one of the now fairly notorious scorekeeping organizations, was founded in 1980. So esports has been around for a long time.
Okay, so a bit longer than I originally anticipated.
But yeah, back to the article. So that it's interesting some of the results they've compiled from this. So yeah, so one of them was saying, well, okay, that's very technical.
Yeah, there's a lot of big words there. You're going to be okay?
They're saying here the purpose of this study was to examine the stress and coping. Furthermore, mental toughness was associated with how stress was perceived as being a challenge or a threat, and the selection of coping strategies. So they've talked about the appraisal association between stress appraisal and mental toughness, and stress coping and mental toughness. Hang on a second. I'll just read the conclusion. So they're basically saying this result suggests that esports athletes could benefit from traditional sports psychology interventions in mental toughness and stress coping, and that further research is required into the psychological determinants of success for esports athletes. Finally, low correlation between MTQ6 and MTI, representing two of the fundamental and most popular models of mental toughness in current literature, indicates that further debate is encouraged on how best to conceptualize mental toughness. And there's an overlap between mental toughness and stress coping processes in traditional sports and esports athletes. Although that's the thing though, like with esports how a sports athlete's mental toughness and esports athletes mental toughness is different. Like how they cope it. Like for an esports athlete, it'll be basically like, okay, I need snacks and a live Red Bull. Like on the other hand, like with sports athletes,
I think that's a meme. I think if you're a legitimate esports player, you know better than to load yourself up on chips and Red Bull.
Yep. But yeah, with the sports athlete, it's a totally different ball game. Like you would have like physios. You would have physios on the corner. You would have you would have like a lawyer for a Gatorade.
Yeah,
maybe
I mean, doping as well. Like not saying you should be, but like what would be the alternative like in a gamer sort of way for esports? It'd be sort of you couldn't use endurance, but not saying we shouldn't. Obviously not. But
well, there was that guy who was busted hacking at an esports event.
Yeah. Because that's how you'd get an advantage, would be hacking inside it.
And then, like, they found a file on his USB stick or something titled Word.exe. And it's like, see, it's just Microsoft Word. And they're like, why would you be using Microsoft Word during a Dota tournament?
Should have said,
oh, that is amazing.
It should be entitled, Totally Not Suspicious File .text.exe.
Oh, I think he got banned for life, didn't he? Or
probably. And even more recently, there was the Formula One has been doing esports tournaments, races, while they haven't been able to hold real life races. And it was Formula E, I think.
Yeah,
one of the racers in Formula E was caught getting someone else to play for him.
I remember that, and he got kicked out, and then he decided to exit the tournament in shame.
Yeah, that is shameful.
Yeah, I remember now. It was a second. Yeah, Formula E driver Daniel Ant was disqualified after finishing third in a virtual race by using a stand-in driver.
Yes. Ooh. So we should move on, though. Yeah. Yes. Have you played any esports this week, DJ?
Nah. I've been playing Agents of Mayhem, though, which is basically Saints Row.
Yeah, I remember that. Doesn't it? No way, I'm thinking of Crackdown that has Terry Crews.
Yep. So it's from the same studios that did Saints Row, and it's basically you are part of a superhero organization, and you're trying to crack down the villainous organization, and you play as the organization was called Mayhem, and I think what's the other organization? It's called, the other organization's called Legion. So it's like if Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but with Saints Row in it.
That sounds messy.
Yeah.
So what do you rate it?
I would rate it 3 out of 5.
And what have you been playing, Devi boy?
This week I've been playing a game called Life. In Life, there's this character that sits at the computer all day and gets depression from searching job searcher appointments and trying to find their way in life. It's truly an engaging experience.
You know, you can pre-write your resume and just copy-paste it to really min-max those applications.
So in other words, you didn't play.
No, I didn't. I had no time this week.
What do you rate life?
I rate life. Oh, at the moment, rate life a 3 out of 5.
I rate it 20 out of 20.
IGN. Oh, yeah?
I played Project Elite,
Ooh, nice.
which is a real-time board game. So each player, the basic plot is you are Space Marines or whatever going up against the traditional Zerg type monsters. But the bit that gets really chaotic is that it is real time, so everyone goes at once. So instead of taking turns, you have a round that lasts 2 minutes or so, and you can take as many turns as you want in that time. So you roll your dice, and your dice come up with like hits or movements or enemy movements. If you roll an enemy movement, you've got to move the enemy. So it gets bloody chaotic because you got 5 people sitting around a table all throwing dice and shuffling characters around.
So it's not like Monopoly?
Nothing like Monopoly. It's more chaotic, but less, surprisingly, you're less likely to beat up your friend. Because it's cooperative. It really bloody weird and a unique idea to have real-time combat and, well, play in a board game.
How would you rate that one? This one?
I'd give it a 4 out of 5, because the couple of games of it I've played, it feels really good. It flows nicely. You'd think having that many people, it would just get overwhelming, but it surprisingly doesn't. The horrible part of it is rolling your dice trying to get the last bit you need to finish the objective and only rolling enemy move.
Ooh, so it's like me of D&D.
Yeah.
I want a D20. Oh, D1. I want a D20. Oh, D1.
Man, it reminds me of my first time playing D&D. The experiences.
Why is everyone else upgraded? I'm still level 1. You're level 5? Save me, please. I'm dead again.
Go for the roleplay XP.
Ah, yes. The best kind.
Yeah. So, on to our shout-outs. On the 12th of July 2020, Joanna Cole, the author of The Magic School Bus, passed away at 75.
Aww.
Joanna was the author who began working on The Magic School Bus in the mid-1980s, and, well, I'm sure you know how it goes. There's a magic bus, surprise, driven by an insane teacher who likes to take her students into life-threatening situations.
Can this
but they all
be a
get out of it
normal
because I've
trip?
got a magic bus.
With the frizz? No way!
Yes, and they did a Netflix revival, which I've never seen, but I watched a trailer for it, and the art style, and that they didn't bring back Valerie Frizzle, it's her sister, was just put me off.
My
Not that I'd
girlfriend's
probably
watched
watch
it. My girlfriend's watched it, and she said it was all right. Like, it's more Magic School Bus, if that's what you're into.
Okay.
But there is a massive disconnect between the first series and this series, just art style-wise and, of course, voice actors.
Yeah, looking at it, I shouldn't be judging it having only seen the trailer, but it didn't seem to hit the same notes.
I haven't seen it, and I feel the same way, but she did say, like, it does try hard to communicate the science more correctly. Because if you've ever saw the original Magic School Bus has a lot of inaccuracies.
Oh, you mean the bit where Arnold takes his helmet off on Pluto and doesn't die? Because you can't show a dead kid in a kid's show.
Oh.
Yeah. So, like, it tries hard to be more accurate, but at the same time, it is obviously a lot more cheaper. Because, yeah, it's just more Magic School Bus, if that's what you're into.
Okay.
I do agree they could have done a far better job of the art style. It looks like a Flash animation from 2005.
Yeah. Might be worth checking out if I ever have kids, which the Google ads have decided I'm ready for kids.
Oh,
and
no.
my child is growing up incredibly quickly. 2 weeks ago, I got ads for nappies. Now I'm getting ads for toddler clothes.
All right,
Google, your ad profile could not be more wrong.
Next second, you start seeing toys show up in the mail. It's like, oh, this is a free sample.
Next minute, you'll be getting like washing detergent samples, and
Next month, you're going to get like school application forms coming in.
Oh, they grow up so fast. Yeah, actually, it reminds me of several years ago, the Target got in trouble for sending out pregnancy information to a teenage girl because they tracked her purchases using a loyalty card, I guess, and sent her pregnancy ads. And her dad got all pissed off because my daughter wouldn't be pregnant. Turns out she was, and Target knew before her family did.
Jesus, yeah, that's I remember that one. That was quite like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So on the 13th of July 2020, Grant Imahara passed away at 49. Grant Imahara died of a brain aneurysm. He was a Trekkie who actually had parts in fan-made productions, a robotics engineer, and worked at Industrial Light and Magic, where he met Adam Savage. So he worked on The Lost World, Jurassic Park, and Terminator 3. He's obviously most famous for building robots that do terrifying things on Mythbusters.
And Robot Wars, I believe he was in as well.
Yes, he was on Robot Wars.
Yeah.
I'm impressed that, they must have had good safety stuff going on because some of the stuff he built could have seriously injured someone.
Grant, it cut my arm off again. This is the third time this week.
Yeah. Do you remember the episode where they made a sword-swinging robot?
Yes, and I was like, oh, that looks dangerous.
Yeah, stand well back.
I think bolt number 5 looks a little loose. Do you think you worry about? Nah, it's all good.
Can you imagine that sword swinging robot was in front of that PlayStation factory?
Oh God. Let's not give them ideas, eh?
Yeah, so Grant is the second Mythbuster to die. The previous one was Jessie Combs, who filled in for a bit. I think she filled in while Carrie was on maternity leave. And unfortunately, Jessie died trying to set a land speed record.
Yeah, from what I've heard, they posthumously gave her the award in the end. So,
I mean, I suppose there's technically no requirement that you come back from it, but yeah, it's a bit of a tragedy. And Adam Savage did a podcast on his Tested channel with his Tested co-host, and it's very hard to watch.
It is indeed. Melancholy, probably best way to put it.
Yeah. In happier news, though, on the 13th of July, a boxed, sealed copy of the NES Super Mario Brothers sold for $114 at auction.
This is just amazing. Look, this is not the first time something's happened for the NES. Obviously, other carts have gone for a lot more, but a lot less. Obviously, not to this extent. Especially the Nintendo. What's that famous cart? World Series. That's sports. Hang on. Basically, I mean, other Nintendo carts have gone for quite a lot on eBay, but I mean, this is just Mario Brothers. It's not even that rare. A sealed copy?
What is rare, though? Perfectly sealed, good as the day it came off the factory line.
I mean, I guess, yeah, that would be worth, but how much is it again?
114,000.
I think that's American, but yeah.
I don't think a box, I mean, $100, maybe $500, sure.
Well, the previous record was a Mega Man game for 75 grand last year.
God. Hey guys, you want to get your sales investment for your life earnings? Get into retro gaming.
Yeah.
Buy everything, put it in a box, make sure it gets no dust, and let the price inflate.
Well, last week when I was talking about my mate Satari, we found out, we didn't know it was such an old model until we were repairing it, and we found out, yeah, this thing's worth $600 or something online. Not break it.
That's me if I need a Geo. It's a lovely little console. I've got quite a few games for it, and I know it's going to be worth a lot.
Will you be getting the Mini?
I looked at that thing. I've picked the box up at JB Hi-Fi, and I wanted it, but it's just too expensive. $150, and it's not even that good.
Yeah, they made a handheld micro console even smaller.
Well, no.
And if you buy the set, you get a little magnifier to.
Oh, that one, yeah. Nah.
Different Neo Geo. Yeah, that's the Pocket. You've got a different one, do you?
No. Okay, I've got the original Neo Geo. So this is the actual AES.
Yeah.
The home. No, so they brought out the mini arcade version, so the Neo Geo Mini, and they're bring out a handheld version, and then Sega's bringing out the micro mini game gears.
Game Gear, is it? My mistake.
Yeah, so the Neo Geo Mini is all right. The Extreme is very nice, but the problem is they got rid of the disc switches in the controllers. So it's like the original, exact same controls, original one, but they got rid of the disc switches. So it's kind of like, it doesn't really feel right for arcade games.
My friend has the Pocket, and those switches still feel really nice.
Yeah, Neo Geo Pocket. Yeah, okay, sorry, that's the one you're talking about. No,
yeah,
I've got
keep switching tracks at the moment, sorry.
I've got the Neo Geo Pocket as well. And yeah, the disc switches on that thing is amazing. I can't believe any other console manufacturer's never done it because it's just satisfying.
I think you're thinking Micro Switch.
Micro Switches, yeah, sorry. Yeah. They're all switches, switchy console disc switches.
But there's differences.
Yeah, so
anyway.
Then the Sega Mega Drive Micros, probably not considering they're extremely expensive for how small they are and how unplayable they probably will be.
Yeah.
I believe it's smaller than a Game Boy Micro. And like a Game Boy Micro's playable. It's not exactly fun for your fingers, but it's doable. But these just like, no. There's a point where we can stop doing the micro stuff, guys, please.
Yep. So we should move on, though.
We should, yeah.
On the 14th of July, X-Men the movie turned 20. So this is the original X-Men movie, basically introducing superhero movies to the world as a serious business. And so we can blame X-Men for leading to this horrible oversaturation of superheroes.
Hey, and it launched Hugh Jackman's career. I mean, come on. Hugh Jackman played an awesome Wolverine.
Was this the one with him in, or was this X-Men? Oh, no, X-Men Origins came after, didn't it?
Yeah, X-Men Origins came after, yeah.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
This also isn't the one with the awful Deadpool.
Yeah.
The one that made Ryan Reynolds so angry he went and made a movie just to spite it.
Yeah. I mean, comic book movies have a weird history because you have, like, basically start of 60s Batman and everyone's like, haha, this is such kiddish stuff. And then you go to 80s Batman, we had Superman. Everyone's like, wow, you guys do something good here. But then it really picked up because everyone's still thinking of the original Batman TV series. Then you had Batman 2000, the 80s Batman, which everyone's like, okay, this is pretty serious. And then a ton of comic book movies got pumped out then, all of very bad quality. And then you come to the early 2000s where basically then more interest was regained because the X-Men franchise, and then more terrible movies are pumped out. Daredevil 2003, etc., the Catwoman and stuff. Then you had the brand new, the other Batman franchise. What was that one? The
Nolan verse Batman.
The Nolan Batman series, and that one helped a lot. And then obviously 2008 you had Iron Man, and then went.
There is one other superhero movies during the 2000s era we're missing. Blade.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, Blade.
Blade was awesome then as well. But here's the one thing that was interesting with this version, with the X-Men movie. It made superhero movies like a dark kind of thing because, you know, back in the day with the Adam West Batman and all that, it was basically like, haha, yeah, cool, all flashy and all like, haha, yeah. But with the X-Men, it was just a dark turn, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like the original Batman franchise in 60 was all about trying to emulate comic books. So it had a lot of onomatopoeias, like bang, whoosh, ha. But then,
and the ridiculous bomb scene, but I'm going to cut you off because you guys will keep going forever.
Yep.
Time to make this a 3-hour-long podcast. Have fun.
So, for remembrances, on the 13th of July, 1762, James Bradley passed away. James was an English astronomer and priest who served as Astronomer Royal. He is best known for two fundamental discoveries, the aberration of light and the nutation of the Earth's axis. John Baptist Joseph Delambre, a historian of astronomy, called these the most brilliant and useful discoveries of the century. So he died at 69 in Chalford, Gloucestershire. On the 13th of July 1921, Gabriel Lippmann passed away. Jonas Ferdinand Gabriel Lippmann, a Franco-Luxembourgish physicist and inventor, a Nobel laureate in physics for his method of reproducing colorless photography based on the phenomenon of interference. He invented the sensitive capillary electrometer, subsequently known as the Lippmann electrometer, used in the first ECG machine. He had a bloody amazing moustache.
Oh yeah, look at that mustache.
He died at 75 on the steamer SS France while en route from Canada. On the 13th of July 1974, Patrick Blackett died. Patrick Maynard Stewart Blackett, Baron Blackett, a British experimental physicist, known for his work on cloud chambers, cosmic rays, and paleomagnetism. He won the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1948. In 1925, he became the first person to prove that radioactivity could cause the nuclear transmutation of one chemical element to another, which is the basis of all nuclear physics, basically.
Yep. So you could say he started alchemy in a sense.
Yes. Nuclear transmutation is basically alchemy. You can, if you had the will and the methods, turn lead into gold. It would be very difficult, and it would be far easier to do it the other way around, but, you could do it if you wanted. So the crater Blackett on the moon is named after him. He died at 76 in London. On to famous birthdays. On the 13th of July, 1527, John Dee, the Anglo-Welsh mathematician, astronomer, astrologer, teacher, and occultist, and alchemist, which we were just talking about. Funny how the segues write themselves sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
He was court advisor to Queen Elizabeth I, but spent his time on alchemy, divination, and hermetic philosophy. He had one of the largest libraries in England at the time, and he advocated turning England into the British Empire. So he coined the British Empire. Everybody who's ever been, colonized, this guy's your guy. He wanted to bring forth a unified world religion through the healing of the Roman Catholic and Protestant churches and the recapture of the pure theology of the ancients.
He's a big numbers man too.
Yeah. For most of his writings, he chose to write in English instead of Latin to make them accessible to the public. He was born in Tower Ward, London. On the 13th of July, 1831, Arthur Böttcher. Jacob Ernst Arthur Böttcher, the Baltic German pathologist and anatomist. In 1856, he earned a medical doctorate from the University of Dorpat, which is now known as the University of Tartu in Estonia. His dissertation was on the nerve supply to the inner ear's cochlea. He is known for his anatomical investigations of the inner ear, including the structure of the reticular lamina and nerve fibers of the organ of Corti. He's got a bunch of different parts of the ear named after him, including the Charcot-Böttcher filaments, which are spindle-shaped crystalloids in human Sertoli cells, measuring 10 to 25 micrometers in length, which is bloody tiny.
Boy,
sorry.
I hate to... Oh.
Wait, did I say micrometers? I don't think that's right. What's
Yeah, I think you're right. Let me see. Yeah, micrometers. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's micrometers.
Having a bit of a brain fart from high school physics then. And the 13th of July 1940, Sir Patrick Stewart was born. Sir Patrick Stewart is known for Charles Xavier in X-Men, Captain Picard in Star Trek. Is he in the TV series Picard?
Yeah, that's him.
So he started as a British Shakespearean actor and had trouble fitting in with his less disciplined castmates. And I like this quote. The fact is that all those years in the Royal Shakespeare Company, playing all those kings, emperors, princes, and tragic heroes, were nothing but preparation for sitting in the captain's chair of the Enterprise. He was born in Mirfield, West Riding, Yorkshire. And on to the events of interest. On the 13th of July 1956, the Dartmouth Workshop held the first conference on artificial intelligence. The project lasted 6 to 8 weeks and was essentially an extended brainstorming session. I'm going to need to take a break for a moment. I'll be back.
Sure, I'll continue on from there. So in 1955, John McCarthy, then a young assistant professor of mathematics at Dartmouth College, decided to organize a group to clarify and develop ideas about thinking machines. He picked the name artificial intelligence for the new field. He chose the name partly of its neutrality, avoiding a focus on narrow automata theory, and avoiding cybernetics, which was heavily focused on analog feedback, as well as him potentially having to accept the assertive Norbert Weiner as guru or having to argue with him. And that's one tough one tough customer. The proposal is credited with introducing the term artificial intelligence. The proposal goes on to discuss computers, natural language processing, neural networks, theory of computation, abstraction, and creativity. He noted, "We will concentrate on a problem of devising a way of programming a calculator to form concepts and to form generalizations. This, of course, is subject to change when the group gets together." One participant, Arthur Samuel, said, "It's very interesting, very stimulating, very exciting." On the 13th of July, 1967, in West Germany, Frankenstein Conquers the World enjoys a run through the theaters. And this one stars Tadao Takashima and Nick Adams. And this was a Japanese-American co-production, and it was the first collaboration between Toho and Henry G. Saperstein. In the film, scientists investigate a child's resistance to radiation that makes him grow to monstrous size, while a second monster ravages the countryside. And there was a sequel called The War of Gargantuas, and the plot summary is even more hilarious. Oh, the plot summary is even crazy. I love this one. During World War II, a human heart taken from a certain lab in Europe, Dr. Frankenstein's lab, but mainly, is kept in a Japanese lab. When it gets exposed to radiation of the bombing of Hiroshima, the heart grows in size, mutates, and sprouts appendages, and eventually grows to a complete body and escapes. Later, a feral boy with a certain deformity, a large head with a flat top, is captured by scientists, who refers to the boy as Frankenstein. The creature grows to the height of 20 feet, escapes again, fights the police and army, and is practically indestructible. Later, a reptilian monster goes on a rampage. Eventually, the Frankenstein creature and the reptile faces off in a terrible battle.
That sounds very intriguing. It's Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, but just not the way I remember reading it.
I love that screenshot from it, though.
I'm like, it's Godzilla. No, wait, no, Godzilla? Wow, did you turn into a man? Wow, radiation does wonders. Can you imagine like kaiju movies with that though? Like before all those ones like Ultraman and stuff, it was Frankenstein.
Man, it's pretty wild though.
Once upon a time, Frankenstein. No, hang on. Frankenstein's monster enters some toxic goo, and then the teenage mutant.
Sean, XCT Sean, we have a cool comic book idea.
What's underneath the sewers of New York? There's a radioactive monster. I can't say. I don't want. It doesn't make grammatical sense to say it correctly in that sense because it's not. Why is it just monster? Can we have a different name for the? I'm calling it Bobby.
I like
Bobby.
how sorry.
Are you going? It's good.
You go. Sorry.
Bobby, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein monster. Bobby the monster.
I like how they do this one. They come to the assumption that Frankenstein is the name of the monster is Frankenstein, when not many people know that the monster is known as the monster and Frankenstein is its creator.
No, that's been passed around so often there isn't anybody who doesn't
most people know. It's one of those things where it's like, hey there. Hello. Have you known that actually Frankenstein references the doctor? Not the monster. Oh, yeah. Look at this amazing fact. I am smart.
And then there's the standard response to it. Oh, but Frankenstein was the monster. Ooh.
Oh,
jeez. We know it's deep and philosophical. Just get over yourself. So our final shout-out, event of interest for the night occurred on the 13th of January 1977. New York City had a 24-hour-long blackout, leading to widespread fires and looting. So most of New York went dark on the July the 13th, carrying through to July 14th. The only parts that weren't affected were in southern Queens, which were a part of a separate system, and the Pratt Institute campus in Brooklyn. So the blackout resulted in citywide looting and arson.
I mean, if that's how most blackouts happened, I'd love that adventure. Hey, usually blackout happens, okay, time to get the candles out, but no, it's a blackout. Woo, time to go tear down society.
Oh God, it's the apocalypse.
The lights have gone.
I bet you that was the inspiration to that movie Escape from New York at one point.
No, I reckon it's more The Purge, I say.
Yeah. Though, interestingly, it was a hot July day in the middle of a brutal heat wave, which is interesting. So it's actually a known effect that crime increases in hot weather.
That's why
If I'm
Canada has no
remembering correctly.
crime.
I don't remember if it's all crime or just violent crime.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's one of those, I don't know how tenuous the correlation is, but, interesting to think about. But that is all we have for tonight. So, DJ, where can they find us?
They can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that'snotcanon.com. We're in the archive of our old episodes, and we have merchandise. We have also on Pod Hero, where you can support us for a mere $5. That's right, $5. You can also check out other podcasts from the That's Not Canon family.
In their new studio.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that new studio is awesome.
No more squeaky door.
No more squeaky seats.
So, are there any That's Not Canon podcasts you can recommend, DJ?
There is that very new one that came out the other day. What was it called? Yeah, you remember it, Professor? I think my dementia's getting
just
to
found
me.
it. It's Lady Mouth by Mixie Plum.
Nice.
So this is a podcast for women, basically. The description is Mixie wanted to create a spot for women to feel safe to use their voice and share their personal experiences.
Nice.
So thank you for tuning in. You can hear us in the same channels, same nerd time next week. Hopefully, unless we're late like last week.
Take care of yourselves, stay hydrated, and hooroo.
Yes, it was a very toasty episode. Have fun, guys. Keep up. Yeah.